it's time to start a new painting or an enlargement of a sketch that I've got, and I'm looking at these three, and I'm wondering which one do I make an enlargement of. This is a very old one right here. It is in Calabasas, California. It's actually now a state park. It's the Gillette Estate. And I know I'm going to have to make some changes if I decide on that. This is an 8 by 10. That's a 10 by 12, 12 by 10. This is 8 by 10. And this is San Simeon. This is San Simeon Creek. The old post office is over to the right. This is the peninsula back here. I like that, and I think that's the one I like best of all of them. This is Mammoth Lakes, and I've been wanting to do this one. I like this. This is 1411. We hiked to this lake, and this is the sketch from that hike, years ago. And I like it. And I don't know, I'm torn. Or do I go to Plein Air Sketches in Oil, my book, and pick a painting out of here? This is Duck Lake up in the Mammoth area. This is Alaska. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've got an enlargement of this. I'm working on it. The original one was stolen by the gallery. I've done some of these already, and so I'm passing through them, not wanting to do it again. This is again. I tried this one here. This is the sketch. You can tell the heavy brush strokes, and I made enlargements. It didn't work. Then I made a night scene of it. That didn't work, and so finally I painted over it. This is another one that I kind of like, and I like the design and colors and stuff. This is Tejon, the Tejon Ranch, when the lake was actually a lake. It dried up, but with rain for the last couple of months, maybe it's got water in it again. So anyway, my choices are here. This is Mammoth Lakes again, Grand Canyon. Flowers I do so rarely. This is another one, but it's so sketchy. I mean, it's a 5 by 7, and it is sketchy. It was done on location in Aspen, Colorado. It had snowed. It wasn't cold. The snow was gone after about 3 days. So let me decide which one I'm going to do. That one I've already got an enlargement of right here. And this is the Malibu Lakes area. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'll decide on this one right here. That's my choice. It's going onto a large canvas, 20 by 18. And it's got that heavy linen, Yarka linen on here. And the reason, if I were to do it again, I probably wouldn't put all this reddish brown sienna on there. But anyway, it's on there. And the reason I put it on there, and I put it on pretty heavily, is because this linen is so thick and so it just sucks up the paint like crazy. So by me putting on a heavy coat of gesso, it may be easier to paint on. So it may make the paint flow a little easier and not grab too much of it, etc. So I think I'll settle with this one right here, which is the central coast of California and San Simeon. It's also a state park right here, and I've always liked this, and that's the difficulty in making enlargements. The small sketches were done quickly, and if they work like this one does, having the same feeling, having it successful in an enlargement is very difficult. It always looks like a studio work unless you really try to paint it like you did when you did the original sketch quickly. I mean, the design will be basically the same. I don't know what else I would be doing. I would probably put something in the foreground here, one of the dark masses right here. Yeah, right here, just to kind of tie the darks together with something in the foreground. But anyway, this is my choice, and now let me block it in and see what happens. All right, we're done with the introduction to the painting I'm going to be doing called San Simeon, 18 by 20. And I've shown you the sketch, and I'm looking at it over in the corner over here. And I'm going to try to block in something that'll make me feel like this is actually going to work. But sometimes I block things in and nothing happens. Doesn't work. But that's not unusual. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, I've got a very large group of eucalyptus over on this side right here. It's just kind of an outline with, and I usually make that darker. And when I start off blocking in, I already try to make it into a value study, you know, so that I kind of know which way this thing is going. And yes, I won't have it end, you know, a quarter of an inch or half an inch down below. I'll make it come off, go right off the board here, here. And the reason I'm going thin, so I can erase it and say, this group of eucalyptus too large, this is never going to work, so let me start over. But it's easier it's easy at this stage. So there's a nice little branch that comes out. This is really going to be about these eucalyptus, a little bit of sky, and in the little foreground. Actually, the creek is not called San Simeon Creek. It's got a Spanish name, and I'll find that name, because I did a painting from the other side, looking from these trees on the beach right here toward the bridge that I'm standing on or near. And so that's what, and so I've painted this area before. Oh, I've painted just about everywhere before, but this is, it's the Hearst area, of course, with, in fact, Hearst Castle is right behind me up the hill. That's exactly where it is. It's up the hill, about a mile inland. Here we're going to end up having a bunch of trunks here. They end up going in, perspective-wise, that's where they're going to go. Okay, there's some darks between the trunks, but that's basically where that's going to be. Making up the slurry so that I can, darks, the light areas are going to be the trunks. Yeah, they go about here. Then the beach area is going to be about here, right there, beach area. Then the creek runs here, and it makes a bend this way. So it goes in, and then it follows along the side here. This is the creek, and there's a reflection in the creek here, and this is green grass. And like I said in the very beginning, I'm going to I said I was going to do what? I was going to do what? I can't remember. Anyway, I was going to put a large mass down here, which is going to repeat the large masses over there, somewhere right here. The rest of this is going to be grass, relatively high key. Sometimes I actually put colors in so that I remember this is going to be grass, and it's going to be relatively light. Grass here, creek here. The creek's going to be relatively light here, and then maybe a line here, and then come these large cypress that are on the side here. They're still there. Saw them not too long ago. Instead of making them into pine trees like my original sketch showed, but I'm going to put that bluff up here. The bluff is here. The beach is here. And then there's the peninsula. The peninsula is this is the area. This is the area that the Hearst Corporation is going to build a nice hotel on this peninsula. It's been in the thinking process for decades. And to be able to do that, the Coastal Commission has been playing hardball. They want to build a hotel. The Coastal Commission doesn't like that, but the Coastal Commission ended up giving them the approval, and Hearst Corporation gave the Coastal Commission 80,000 acres on which they can do. Nobody's going to build anything anymore. So that's how this all worked out. So anyway, back to here. I don't want to make a pine tree out of this, but so I'm going to go. Yeah, it's here. Yeah, those trees are very, very dark. Yeah, these are very dark. And then there's a shorter one here. Here. Okay. And then there's a reflection in the water right here. Yeah, here. This is kind of a berm. On the original sketch that I showed you, it's very dark. I'm going to make it, there's a lot of reddish soil there, so I'm going to go toward a warmer color right here, like so. The strand is really not too visible from here. It'll just be a line, sand line. Let's see, I said I was going to have something here. It seemed right to me there. Yeah, trunks, shadows between the trunks. I'm just looking at proportions here to make sure. And I don't know, maybe I'll make, there's a little oak in here. There's a little oak in here. All I'm doing to do this is I've just taken alizarin crimson and a little bit of cobalt blue or ultramarine blue. Just kind of mix a lot of terp with it and kind of make a little slurry and get it on here. Yeah, and then it starts to run too, but that's the way it goes. Okay, peninsula water is right here, and that's going to be relatively light, and that's going to be here. There. Then there's going to be a sky. So that's, and then this area right here is going to be strand, which is kind of there. No biggie. And I guess I picked this. It looked like the one that needed the least amount of changes. So that's, I think, the reason I picked it. Well, this is run a little bit, but that's the way it goes. But I'm getting to the point where, yeah, this will work, or I've got to make some changes. So. All right. And let me go back in here and do a little bit more of the green. It's lots of turp at this stage. Yeah, here. You know, if I don't, this is something that really is almost a rule. If I don't in the block in, not always, but boy, I tell you, very often, if by the time I'm done with the block in and, you know, putting on the basic little colors like you see me doing now, and if it doesn't work at that time, that's really a sign that says, boy, I tell you, I don't know if I can pull this off. That's really, it's almost like a rule. And the water does go out to the ocean sometimes when there's enough rain, so we have it kind of heading out. Oh no, I've got some colors in here. Yeah, so here, that peninsula is pretty far away, and so it's not going to be as dark as I have it. It's going to be quite a bit, it's going to be lighter, Carl, lighter here. And just kind of a wispy little thing that's down here. Don't like the peninsula touching this. I may end up having to move this up a little bit, or I'll make the peninsula smaller. And then the only place where we've got blue in the original sketch, and that may change, is just an area right here. 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 Done very quickly. And I'll take a large brush so I can... And the rest of it is pretty light. It's kind of a warm here. So in this area right here. All right. Let me think about this some more. So I'm taking my greens, a little phthalo green, a little orange, and I'm blocking in this big juniper or cypress or whatever the heck it is. Cypress, I think. Let's see. Yeah, that would be. It's not a Monterey pine, that's for sure. This is a massive tree, and now I'm gonna take a bigger brush. Is this bigger? Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. There, bigger brush to block the color in here. Again, this is all still relatively thin, and going right over the paint, and it hasn't dried. It's mixing with what's underneath it, but that's okay. It's mixing with what's underneath it. But then I'm going to have, I'm going to make some I'm going to go a little darker in some of those areas, so I'm going to darken up, and darken up. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of keeping to myself here. Yeah, very quickly. This part, it's always done, I always do it quickly because I want to know as soon as possible that this is going to work or no, it's not. And so I want to do it quickly. I don't want to waste precious time hoping it'll work when in reality I've miscalculated and I've not thought it all through. I'm just putting those trunks in approximately where they're going to go. That'll all change, but I got to be able to see this, and I'm going to put a much larger trunk down here. Yeah, they're pretty even in the original sketch. That's okay. Well, I got some blue on there. So here, more terp. I don't want to get too thick. It's not good. Yeah. Some of these are going to end up darker too. And there is going to be a darker one close to the front. There. Some Payne's Gray, which is my dark. It's here. Yeah, I'd like some air to come through here, or lights to come through here. That's going to be kind of important to me. And, you know, there's going to be some darks between the trees here. Yeah. Nice warmth in this thing right here will be nice. Well, this needs a little lights as well. Anyway, so I think basically this is it. And yeah, there's actually a building right over here that was built by Hearst to house the contractors and construction personnel that were going to build this castle. So that's over to the right. Oh, there's a whole bunch of houses, like I said, behind me. The castle is there to the right over here. A little further north is where the post office is. That was one of the oldest post offices in California. It was built in 1859, which is early. I think the state of California was founded somewhere near that time. Anyway, I'm just making this light to see what am I going to do. And again, you know, this whole thing has taken me 15-20 minutes, and there's no reason to spend a lot of time on this. My thinking was already done. My thinking was pretty well done from what I saw on the sketch, and that's probably the reason I picked it. I mean, I knew it was going to take less work than some of the others that I had there. Okay, well, I think you're getting the idea of where this is going. And yes, I'll fill in some more blue and some more of the sky, but basically this is it. And my feeling is, yeah, I think it'll work. It'll take some work, there's no doubt about it, to make it as good as the sketch. Now that's the thing that's going to take the most amount of work. And where is that coming from? I don't know. Is it coming from the amount of paint on it, or is it coming from the design, that it's clever, that it's yeah, I'm going to certainly put some highlights on here as I'm thinking, yeah, I gotta have highlights on here. The darkest will be on the bottom, of course, and that's what I'll do. There's some, yeah. Okay, well, but I think you can see it's going to work, but will it end up working? It's always the concern. So I've never done an enlargement from of this small 8x10, and I'll show it to you again in another segment here. Yeah, or I said I was anxious to have those sky holes in there that to see. Here. Yeah, here. Here's going to be sky here. And a little bit here. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of sky there. But I think I'll let that develop at a later time. Yep, just mixing them some more sky stuff. Yeah. Okay. And now is the time for me to go back and forth from one mass to another. This mass, this mass, this mass, that one. This is the time I kind of go back and forth until I feel like, yeah, it's going to work or it's not going to work. This is, of course, I don't like that. Yeah. This is mostly on this peninsula. The original Hearst, maybe it wasn't even Randolph, it may have been his father who ended up planting bridle trails and what have you. I mean, you can tell they've been there for 100 years or more, and so it is a place that the Hearst were planning on using and had used, but the hotel is still not up, and this is 2020. So yeah, there's not going to be a lot of beachy area. There really isn't. There isn't a lot of beachy area. It's going to be here, and then there's going to be some sand, which will be a little on the warmer side. So this is still beach area here, here. Yeah, this is also detail that should really come later, but I always like putting that in early so that I can see it. Yes, 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 it's working. Or no, do something else, or start something else. Yeah. Oh, and then the beach area, a little warmer. Here. Here. There. Okay. All right. I think this'll at least that I'm not terribly disappointed. I did have, and I think having all these verticals right here, one of the things I had in the original sketch was a little oak or something right here, and I think I'll put that back in. And I said I was going to put in that oak tree right here. Now, it may be that it's too close to what I said I needed down here. I didn't even see it. It had a little oak tree right here. And that oak tree is going to be about here. Maybe it comes forward a little bit. Also, there's a lot of stuff falling down here. Branches falling down, limbs falling down. There'll be a bunch of nice orangey things in this area here. Here's that tree I said I needed in the front. Maybe it'll be a lot smaller. In fact, that's what I think I'll do to make it work. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff hanging, falling down, but I think, again, that'll come much later. Yeah, I'm going to get grass to be able to make this tree smaller to see if it's still working. That's all I really want, is can I make it small enough to make it work, where it's just, maybe it's a bit of sage and stuff instead of a tree. Could just be some sage. Small. Yeah, I think that's okay. All right. Let's see if I can make that pine tree. Yeah, there'll be shadows on here. That's good. Shadows here. Anyway, I've got to break up this large green mass. When we started it off, in the sketch, it's all green to the sides. I think kind of breaking it up with the shadows over here, making the green grassy area smaller is probably going to be something I like better. Yeah. Yeah, here, some of the purples and stuff, they can stay too, but all right. All right, well, I think with enough paint on it and with enough interest, when I noticed on my sketch, I do have some small things growing here. Again, that'll be like this, which was a tree at one time, which is now going to become a little bit of sage, or just something that grows near the beach here. Yeah. 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 I'm wondering about this trunk. I think it's coming too far forward. I think I'll put grass at the bottom and see if I can push it back. Yeah, I think that's better. I think it needs further back, and it needs to lean more too. So let's make that tree lean a little bit more. Yeah. Let's put some shadows, some drop shadows on that tree here. The other tree is just hugging the corner, which is fine. Here's this next one. It's right here. Here. Yep. And here. Some of these branches are going to end up being a nice warm color. Again, I think that's later down the road. Here. But I always like the feeling of doing it early. And of course, I'll paint over it a million times. But I again, like I said, boy, if I see it early on, I see that it's going to work. Yeah, I'll kind of keep going. Anyway, I think I'll stop here. No, I just want to do one more thing. I do want to lighten this up a little bit. Yeah, here. There. Okay. That grass that's underneath it was nice. That's a nice little grassy knoll here. There's also some of the earth that's on the right-hand side is also going to show up on the opposite bank. Of course, it overflows all the time. It rises up above here when there's lots of rain, and then there's nothing. The last couple of years it's been pretty dry, but it's basically still there. These trees are there, this creek is there, this knoll that's there. It's going to be grass. I'm going to end up showing you it's grass or some kind of a growth by bringing my vertical strokes in here. That'll be convincing. Yeah. Yeah. All right. There's something else over here. There. Yeah. Let's kind of break that up a little bit. I like the red soil, but I do like to break it up. Yeah. It already looks better having some of those lighter tones in there. They're even lighter than what's on the sketch, but the sketch is only there as a reference. Look at the trunks again. Even though this is at a different time of the day, the trunks are much, much lighter. Here, like I said, the values are so close together. The darks are going to have to be darker, and the lights are going to have to be lighter as well. Anyway, I like the highlights on the beach and stuff. This is much closer to what the actual beach should look like. It's much lighter than it is in the sketch. And I may continue it all the way across or just partially across. We'll see. Let me continue. I'm using a number 8 Winsor Newton flat brush. Yeah, and for most things this will work fine here. Now I'm going to go back and do some of the darker values that need to be emphasized, but I think that the lighter trunks, eucalyptus trunks is what they are looking better, and the value, the contrast has been increased, which I like too. Back to a little bit of dark. Taking orange pure, some phthalo green, some blue, and the blue happens to be a little more here, some a cobalt, and some French ultramarine. Stay in the green area. Yeah. Too dark, but that's all right. I'll go back in there and lighten it up. A little more on the orange side. Here. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to have foliage covering the trunks when they end up expanding this much. That I don't want the eye to kind of be driven off the canvas, and so I'll interrupt that line here. Some more darks going in there now between the trunks. for now. I'm going to skip around. I'm going to go to the grass below to kind of increase the contrast here as well. Okay. Again, sunlight is hitting this grass from various angles. So I'm going to snap up the green in places. Too dark. Yeah, it can be dark in places. Much more, needs much more yellow. And that's what I'm going to do. Add more yellow. I'm going to end up making it darker near the trunks right here, even though sunlight could be coming through here. I want it darker right here. Like, yeah. I want it darker. Some shadows that are being cast. So the lightest green is going to be here, here, not right by the trunks. There. More highlights. That's what I'm going to do next. I've got some, but I want more. More yellow. And now, because I've got all these greens, I'd like to add a little bit more interest on the reds that I've got here to balance on the greens that I've got. So I'm going to my red, some orange. Yeah. Yeah. Notice I don't stay on one spot. I'm going to just keep moving. I'm going to, like I said earlier, I just have that kind of material on my brush that there are going to be caves and places where earth is showing. Again, very sketchy, very... and while I'm doing light, sketchy things, I'm going to make the sky a lot lighter. Add a little yellow to it. Yeah, a little warmth here. Yeah. Yeah, I like how it ends up separating the trunks and the various elements when the sky's such a nice light gray. You know, there'll be some skylights up above too. All right, so let me finish this. I said I was going to make it lighter with a little yellow, and that's what I'm doing. Oops, got some green in my brush. That's okay too. you know, a tree trunk that's been, in fact, one of the photos has it in there. I'm going to see if it works. I'm not 100% sure. But let's see what happens. And I'll erase it if it doesn't work. Using some Payne's Gray. Some Payne's Gray. A little white. A little of my Winsor Newton light red, which is a dark red. Or a very deep red. And then something here. Here. Yeah, is it a, you know, what is it? But it's usually on the gray side. That's what that stuff is. The color of it is gray of old tree trunks that have been washed up. You know? And again, I do like knowing that I don't really feel like I need to explain everything. This is one of those things that where people are saying, what is it, a rock, a tree, a walrus? One of the many sea elephants that seem to come ashore here. There. Anyway, I'm leaving it for now, but in the final version it may be gone. But for now, I've thought about it. I say, let me try it, and I will try a lot of stuff, and eventually I end up with what I end up with. So, and of course when I've got one little thing in there, I need to put in even more. Underneath it here is going to be a very dark green because there'll be a shadow there. Yeah. There. But I said the most important thing right now is I really do need to put in some more highlights. So I'm taking some white, green, some yellow, and that's, I want to put a couple of spots in here. Here. Yeah, that's good. Here. Okay, it breaks up that whole thing. And the other thing I want to do is kind of give it some grass strokes that are vertical, you know, here. I want to also go back in and put in some of that red. But I've looked at this, and before I start painting, I say to myself, let's see if I can remember all the things that I think I want to do. And I'll always forget something, there's no doubt. Yeah, I wanted to make this lighter and smaller. So let me... That's just a bush, some growth down here. I don't like that at all. Whatever I've done with it, I don't like it. So, make a shadow out of it. Yeah, get rid of it for now. Let's see if I can go back in and find it again. Here. I've done these little things a few places. Back to that, again, you see me skipping around. Here's one of the other things that I said. These berms usually have a drop shadow, like so. Yeah. Oops. There. Yeah. And the green on top of the knoll could be a little punchier. Here. Now let's go back. I like the red soil here, and it does have a red soil, which is so wonderful when it comes to balancing the colors with the with all the greens we've gotten here. I want to try or to see what it looks like when I extend the sand on the beach there. I started it here yesterday or the day before or last week, I can't remember. Lighter, Carl. Lighter. Lighter. And I like the light in the corner here better than what I've got. Yeah, also need to try and make that water a little bit better. I'm going to take some cerulean. Don't want to make it, well, it has to be, is that the right color? Again, this is an experiment. I've got it very light in there. Don't know, I'm just going to play until I feel like, yeah, that's the color I need. Not so much that's the color that the ocean was that day. Yeah, in places. Yeah, no, I like it much lighter. Yeah. I'm back to almost where I was. I think I'm almost back to where I was. And I think I'm going to make it lightest back here. And then this right here, the surf areas where the waves would be kind of crashing onto the beach. Here. We can put an umbrella there, but for now I'm not going to do that. For now it's just, let's go on with it. Here. Yeah. All right. One of the other things that you'll find lots of when it comes to eucalyptus trees is all that loose, all the loose branches and things. And so I don't want to go too crazy. I've got some of them in here already. You know, they hang and they flop and they're on the ground. And so adding some of that here is always going to end up making it look like this is a real eucalyptus grove. Maybe that's too much there. I'll step back and look at it. And if you've ever studied trunks, eucalyptus trunks, they've got so many colors in them. Here's a little bit of blue. Oh, I've seen that. But you don't want to add it. And you don't want to add it I've already added too much, so I'm going to go back in there and gray it out. This area over here is where that little bush was, and it has never worked since I fooled around with it, but it's okay. Yeah. And some highlights here. Yep. Certainly bringing this color and that color into the grass, but maybe I should go more toward the warm. The warm meaning something to balance all the cool greens that are in here. So there we go. All right. Yeah, like that. So when I get a tickle in my throat. Wow. All right. I do want to make it look like this water goes all the way to the beach, so put a small line there. This is done very casually right here, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, it really doesn't. There could be, and I have been in the original sketch that you've been looking at in the corner, some verticals right here. In other words, something is growing, plus, having lines run from one side of the painting to the others, usually an invitation to run the viewer off the canvas, so I end up usually interrupting it, with some verticals. Something is growing there. Yeah. Okay. Just wondering. Yeah. Adding some of this stuff in the now. And yeah, I want to go more yellow. Yeah. All right. So I think I'm going to rest here, or at least kick back, observe it, and decide what changes it needs, if any. I do like these little verticals. It does depict, the junk that's everywhere, and it could be covering, and it would be covering some of the trunk that has fallen in here. Yeah. Yeah. I think the galleries are going to find it a saleable item. if this is a plant instead of just a strange shadow, I'm going to put some kind of a root bottom to it where it's always the darkest here. Yeah, it's light and airy enough to kind of let it pass. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't help it much. Again, you know, I just kind of go in there with the brush and see if I can put a highlight on it. Yeah, it's getting bigger and uncontrollable. And so it's gotten rid of it once. I'll probably end up getting rid of it again. I think I'll put a shadow here. I think that'll please me, but you never know. I try it, just like I tried that plant again, and it didn't do anything for me. Yeah, there. Yeah, there. Yeah. Yeah, it's working. I'm going to leave the sky the way it is for now. There's still some orange from the underpaint. The gesso I put on it, the tinted gesso with the California tint to make it a nice warm color. For this painting with all the greens, that was a good idea. And it's coming through behind the trees here. There's no need for me to get rid of all of it. Leave it. You know, this area right here was part of the underpainting as I was sketching it in or blocking it in. And I'm leaving that too. It ends up, I don't know, it just ends up making me happy. And that's, I guess, why I'm doing it. Is there any technical reason for it? No. It just kind of breaks with the sky, kind of frames this little leafy thing, that eucalyptus thing. I'm kind of, I feel relatively pleased that I've kind of stuck to the original plan to make it look as sketchy and as plein air as possible, even though it was done in the studio. And I think I've succeeded in that. I think we did need something here. And I think if people can't figure out what it is, that's perfectly okay as well, as long as the eye doesn't stay there and people don't go anywhere else. I don't know. The minute I look at it, of course, the minute I say stuff like that, I say, oh, I really need something there. It's too dark. Who knows? I'll be hanging on the wall. This frame is not mine. It's very large and very heavy. It's got real gold on it. You can see the striping here with a leaf overlapped. It's got some nice red bolet underneath there that's coming through. The red's going to pick up the nice oranges over here. And I'm relatively pleased for now. Let me hang it on the wall and see how I feel a week or a month from now. But I think this is the final, and I'm relatively pleased with it. I signed it, which is usually something I don't do for months, but I figured why not? It's going into the frame and on the wall, and let's see what I think about it a month from now.